Ilia Topuria is set to fight in December for UFC 323. That is right, guys. The idea behind Ilia Topuria is that he's one of those guys who's going to go in there, he's going to chin you in the first round. He's one of the greatest of all time. But the thing is, he doesn't fight. He's not very active, he's having one fight per year. And now Ilia Topuria is reportedly, he wants to get back in there, dude. He wants to stay active, and he wants to have another fight this year. And I think this is very good for the promotion of UFC as a whole, and also just Ilia Topuria's career. He's leaving a great legacy behind, and depending on who he faces at UFC 323, this is a career-defining moment. One more thing before we get into it, I want to say make sure to subscribe, boys. We just hit 900 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me. But obviously, 1,000 subscribers is the main goal. That's what we're looking ahead to. So just subscribe, dude. It takes 1 second. I'm a small channel, and help me hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And yeah, man, let's talk about it. So today, I'm gonna be giving you guys my reaction to who I think Ilia Topuria should be fighting at UFC 323, and just building a decent little card to go along with it. Obviously, you guys know, if you're a fan of this channel, who I think the clear-cut #1 contender is. It's Armen Surukian, dude. Armen Surukian. That is a real thing. Armen Surukian deserves the title shot, guys. I just watched a 30-minute video that MMA Guru put out earlier about him ranting that Armen Surukian is not the #1 contender, on how Armen Surukian does not deserve the title shot, and how Armen Surukian is an inbred rat. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, that just made me mad, because I couldn't feel more different about the whole Ilia Topuria situation. I believe Ilia Topuria and Armen Surukian, Ilia Topuria, in a way, he's ducking Armen Surukian. Armen Surukian deserves a title shot. He deserves a title shot without the doubt, dude. The UFC has already made Armen Surukian pay. They've already punished Armen Surukian by having him sit out for almost 2 years at this point, and not giving him the title shot against Ilia Topuria in the first place. They gave Charles the title shot, who Armen Surukian already beat, The UFC already punished Armen Surukian. There's no need to punish him again. There's no need to make him fight another contender, because we know what's going to happen if he fought another contender. If he fights Gamrot, he's probably going to beat Gamrot. If he fights like another Charles Oliveira, if he fights Charles Oliveira in a rematch, he's going to beat Charles Oliveira. What is the point of making him have that extra fight if, we're not, what's the point? He's going to fight Ilia Topuria either way, whether it be later down the line or now. The fight's going to happen, dude. Listen, we're not going to get Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, because Islam, he's going off to welterweight. Why would you not want to see Ilia Topuria face the best guys in the division to keep building his legacy? A win for Ilia Topuria against Armen Surukian, that would push Ilia Topuria into even a bigger star. A win for Armen Surukian, dude. Armen Surukian, I don't get why a lot of people call this guy a boring fighter. He's not terribly boring. I don't hate watching Armen Surukian. There's definitely some fighters where I dread watching them fight. Armen Surukian isn't one of them, dude. He had one of the best fights of the year in 2024 against Charles Oliveira, a very back and forth fight. Before that, he chinned Dariush. This guy actually gets finishes, dude. He's not a terribly boring fighter. I'm not saying he's, oh, bro, this guy's a fight of the year contender every single fight. No, I'm saying he is capable of putting on a good fight now and then. Obviously, we know Ilia Topuria is capable of putting on a war. He's capable of finishing you in the first round, and that is what makes Ilia Topuria so fan-friendly. And why not make this fight, dude? This would be such a banger of a fight. I'd love to see this fight, and to see this fight in December would be a literal dream, dude. I would love to see this fight. I don't know, dude. I hope the UFC does not punish Armen Surukian, and I hope the UFC does not give Paddy Pimlet the title shot. I hope the UFC does not give any other contenders the title shot. Maybe Gage deserves the title shot, but I'm not going to talk about that today. So I believe this should be the main event. Ilia Topuria's next fight should be against Armen Surukian. It should not be against Paddy Pimlet. Don't give me any of that. I believe that Ilia Topuria will be fighting Armen Surukian come December. Now, we're going to be talking about what I think the co-main event for this card should be, and bro, I would not care if this card main evented a pay-per-view, let alone is a co-main event to an Ilia Topuria card, bro. This is such a nice fight. This fight makes me so happy thinking about it. I mean, obviously, we know this fight's gonna happen, dude. It's pretty much confirmed. It's announced but not announced. We just don't have a date for it. And I think both of these guys have said they want to come back. They want to fight by the end of the year. They've already established that. What better way to end the year off of 2025, which has been a pretty mediocre year for MMA, then putting these two bangers on the same card. Joshua Van, dude, one of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC. Pantoja, one of the greatest flyweights of all time. He's coming off 2 back-to-back rear naked choke finishes, just looking like a dominant champion, one of the oldest UFC champions to just be so dominant. Meanwhile, Joshua Van's one of the youngest #1 contenders we have ever seen. This is just such a beautiful matchup, man, and I honestly don't know who would win this fight, but I would love to see this fight on a December card, dude. Joshua Van, he loves to fight, he's super active. Both of these guys have said they want to fight before the end of the year, and this would be a dream fight, man. I mean, it is a dream fight, it's pretty much confirmed, and I'm so excited to see this fight take place, dude. It's going to be a banger, and yeah, man, this could really elevate UFC 323, and I'm not being unrealistic here, dude. I mean, I know a lot of people thought we could have saw maybe a Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira, but it looks like that's not going to happen. You know, I'll talk about that now. I believe this fight should be the featured fight for UFC 323. That is my opinion. You know, we're going to be discussing the lightweight division. I do this every couple of videos because every now and then Justin Gage comes out and says, bro, I'm not fighting again until I get the title shot. And then Armen Surukian tweets the next day and he's like, Ilia Topuria, stop ducking me. So this division, dude, everyone's tweeting different things. It's constantly changing, but I'm still stuck on this match. If you have seen this channel before, you know that I believe that Justin Gage versus Paddy Pimlet is the clear fight to make in this division, dude. Justin Gage, I'm a huge fan of you, brother, but just fight, brother. We're tired of waiting for you, and I honestly don't think this fight is very likely for UFC 323. I wanted to put a lightweight fight on this card since obviously we have Armen Surukian and Ilia Topuria in the main event. I wanted to put like a kind of #1 contender fight on this card. And honestly, this is the #1 contender fight to make if Armen Surukian gets the title shot, but I don't think this is going to happen, dude. I think Justin Gage is actually serious, dude. I think it's going to take a lot of convincing for this guy to actually come back and fight if it's not for the title, and I don't think he'll be ready before the end of the year. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimlet, the kid walks around at like 200 pounds. I don't know what to tell you. He does not seem dedicated to me, and I don't believe Paddy Pimlet will have a fight before the end of the year. I think they offered him a fight against Justin Gage. I think both sides declined at UFC 319. I think this fight was actually supposed to happen at UFC 319, but both of those guys declined it because they're just bums at this point. They're just sitting out. And again, I think this is very unlikely. So a fight I decided to go with was this one. Man, no one's talking about this fight. This is a potential fight that I like. I cooked this matchup, dude. This is a banger matchup by MMA Outpost because I was thinking, Charles Oliveira, he just got chinned. He brutally got KO'd. He's probably not going to want to fight till the end, to next year, sorry. And then Max Holloway, it is revealed now that he has a pretty bad hand injury, so it's looking unlikely that he is going to fight before the end of the year. And I think the UFC is really wanting to go the direction of Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway for the BMF belt. So I think both of those guys are already booked. They'll probably fight either at the beginning towards mid next year, Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway. I think that fight will happen towards around that area. The UFC wants to make that fight for the BMF title, understandable. So both of those guys, we can just get rid of them. Armen Surukian in this made-up universe, in this made-up matchmaking universe, he is fighting for the title. And realistically, Paddy Pimlet and Justin Gage, I said it before, I don't think those guys are going to want to fight like till next year at least. So both of these guys, they're both fighters who want to stay active. They're both fighters who are actually BMFs in the division. And who's to say, dude, if Dan Hooker wins this, he can get a title shot. If Fiziev wins this, he can get a #1 contenders fight, brother. Fiziev's ranking does not show his actual skill, dude. Fiziev's ranked, I think, like 11th. But this guy, I'm picking him to beat most of the top 10 realistically. I'm picking him to beat probably a couple of guys in that top 5. Like, I'm picking this guy to give Max Holloway a tough fight. I might pick Fiziev to beat Charles Oliveira at this point, and I know that's crazy, but I'm high on Fiziev. I think Fiziev is just a really crafty striker. Meanwhile, Dan Hooker, dude, this kid's been beefing against Armen Surukian, so I think this would be a very fun time to have Dan Hooker and Armen Surukian on the same press conference. A lot of people would like to see that. And just to end off the year, dude, this is a certified banger. Rafael Fiziev is always putting on bangers. And don't even get me started on Dan the Hangman Hooker, dude. Every time Dan Hooker goes out there, you know it's going to be a war. You know this man's going to have blood over his face. Oh, I love this, man. I love this sport. And I think this would be a very fun fight to make. It might be a #1 contenders fight. Probably not. I don't think Fiziev can get a title shot after this. But Dan Hooker, if he wins this, I think he is like actually deserving of a title shot. I wouldn't get mad if Dan Hooker won this fight or a fight similar to this and got a title shot. And yeah, man, that's gonna do it for today's video. That is what I think UFC 323 should look like. It's a little bit too far ahead to be like predicting like the prelims or like the main card opener. It's a little bit too early for that, so I didn't go as far as doing that. But like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure to subscribe, dude. It means a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one. MMA Outpost out.